Peace, love, and smoke DMT. Oh, hello, my friends. Welcome back down the rabbit hole. It's your boy Icarus, 4 to the A to the O, bro. And this is episode 5 of After the Streets. This is the series finale. Yes, the train is approaching the station for this one. However, have no fear. There's still plenty more tales to be told, many more trips to be had, and a lot more cool shit I'm working on inside my head for this channel. So stay tuned, and thank you guys for your love and support, always and forever. Follow me on Instagram at Uncle Icarus. But yeah, man, let's jump straight into it. Welcome to episode 5. Into our psychedelic time machine we go. Smoke DMT. So there I was, right? Single and free in Tempe. I had just went through the craziest twist and turn of events that has ever happened in my life that led me to taste the sweetest revenge I've ever had in my entire life, right? And ironically, me and Beef's girlfriend were hitting it off pretty well. And it's not just because she tongue wrestled my down south man clit or anything, but she was a pretty cool girl. So I would find myself, going out and hanging out with her, one night out of the weekend, and, going to drink with her and her cousins and friends, and, ending the night back at my place most of the time, it takes two to tango, no strings attached. I was cool with it up until it started to kind of steer in a direction I wasn't really about. You know what I mean? I had just gotten out of a relationship, and, I wasn't trying to get back into anything serious, and that's just kind of seemed where this was going. She was kind of wanting to spend a lot more time with me, and taking pictures and posting it on Instagram with the caption, "My baby." Like, whoa, not so fast there. I didn't sign up for any of that. The straw that broke the camel's back was, we went out one night, me, her, cousin, and friends, normal, and she had left to the bathroom miraculously just in time for them to pull me aside and be like, "So, when are you gonna ask her out? What do you think about her?" Da 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 da. Obviously a conversation that was manufactured back at their fucking living room, and they huddled up like a fucking football team. They're like, "All right, this is what I need you guys to ask him." Da 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 da. At that point, I was like, I need to step away from this plate a little bit. With all this shit that had just gone on and going on, I needed a vacation. I needed to get away for a little bit. So I started planning a little weekend getaway, nothing too crazy. As I'm planning, I'm thinking up, maybe California. Nah, it's not the right time of year. Vegas, seems like it'd be more fun with friends. I'm going on a little solo adventure. Now, as I'm planning this up, the TV show Breaking Bad had just ended, and it was literally the talk of the entire fucking world, and I fucking nerded out on Breaking Bad. I'm a huge goddamn fan of Breaking Bad, and I so happened to be making friends with somebody named Echo, who used to live in Phoenix and now lives in Albuquerque. I was making friends with her on Instagram. Conversation leads to her saying, "Hey, if you ever come to Albuquerque, I'll be happy to take you around and show you all the Breaking Bad filming locations." Say no motherfucking more. I was like, bet. We worked on a date that would work, I was like, take the time off, and fucking I went down there. Greyhound that bitch, right? Scenic route, meet weirdos and shit. I get on the bus, bunch of weed on me, I'm packed up, ready to go like a fucking tourist. And yeah, I get on the bus, I'm headed to Flagstaff. Big native guy sitting next to me. His name's Benjamin. We're just small talking here and there. And, he asked me, "Hey, you got any weed?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, check this out, dude." He takes a whiff of it. Oh, man, that smells like heaven. Makes me miss smoking weed. You don't smoke weed, man? Why are you asking me to smell my weed? Kind of sketchy, whatever. But, hey, I guess he just wanted to bask in the aroma of the shit. But he asked me 2 or 3 more times, on the way to Flagstaff, "Can I smell it again? Can I smell it again?" Hey, man, reminisce, dude. So we get off in Flagstaff, and it's fucking snows everywhere. I don't ever fucking see that shit. I live in Satan's asshole. So I'm like, this is a fucking winter wonderland, bro. Like, as I'm thinking, like, perfect, I'm gonna roll a fucking joint. I see a black guy walking up to me, kind of hunched down a little bit. He makes eye contact with me. He's like, hey, man, you got, any bud that I can hit or, whatever? Like I'm trying to smoke, dog. I'm like, hey, dude, you read my mind. Let's roll up a joint, side of the bus or whatever. He's like, hell yeah. So we start talking. He's like, what's up, man? My name's Rocco. He's a black guy, skinny, bald head, had a tattoo under his eyes. Like, yeah, I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. This and that. Thanks for letting me hit your weed. Yeah, man. We're just talking about travels and shit like that. We get back on the bus. Every stop we have on the way to Albuquerque, we're rolling up a joint. We're sharing snacks. You know what I mean? Fucking Sour Patch Kids, Doritos, you name it, bro. And I drive straight to Albuquerque. Call it Albuquerque because goddamn, bro, I wasn't expecting that shit. I got off the Greyhound station in downtown Albuquerque, sketched out like a motherfucker, dude. I thought fucking 16th Street and Indian School was bad in Phoenix, bro. This is 16th Street and Indian School on fucking steroids. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? No hate to your city if you live out there in Albuquerque. I did learn to love it, but goddamn, I was terrified, man. I never met Echo, so I'm like kind of looking around, and I see her walking up, looking just as scared as me. She's like, come on, let's get the fuck out of here. So as we're walking to her car, this homeless black guy walks up to her, and he's like, excuse me. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said. And he's like, she's like, I'm sorry, no. And he's like, okay, and then walks away. I'm like, what the fuck? So we get in the car, and yeah, I go to my hotel, and yeah, we hang out all fucking weekend. She's an amazing person. She's such a, still my friend to this day. Shout out to you, Echo. Hell yeah, she took me to all the fucking Breaking Bad locations. Everywhere you see in that show, motherfucker, I've been. I was in the car. Spoiler alert, I don't know why I'm saying that. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, what is wrong with you, you uncultured swine? But I sat in the car where Walter White shot Mike and the blood splatters. He gets shot, right? I sat in that exact car with blood splatters still in there, dude. It was super dope. Anyways, I head back to Phoenix. I'm in line for the Greyhound. There's this girl, probably like 20 years old. Notices my stretched ears. I had 1.5 inch size gauges at the time, and she says what every fucking person asks you if you have stretched ears. Did that hurt? 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 I'm like, yes, I'm just standing here in excruciating fucking pain for my own enjoyment. I'm like, no, it didn't fucking hurt. She's like, starts talking to me about it, whatever. She's like, hey, do you want to sit by me on the bus? I have a tablet. We can watch the OC. Okay, cool, wonderful. We got on the bus. We're driving. The bus driver, for some reason, doesn't fucking like me. And he's all like, if I find you drinking and shit like that, like, I'm going to kick you right off the bus. He goes on this whole spiel as we're driving, telling everybody, like, oh, there better not be any drugs or talking on the bus, because we're driving at night. And he's all like, people are trying to sleep, like all this shit. Whatever. We're stopping, and, I'm blazing on the way. And, yeah, while we're on the bus, like this chick I'm watching the OC with leans her head on my shoulder. I'm like, oh, fuck, is this happening? This is happening. We're making out. I mean, I'm not going to take it any further than that because we're on a fucking Greyhound. I'm not that much of a beast where I'm just going to fuck this random bitch raw on a Greyhound. So, we're just making out, whatever. Fun. And then we get off in Phoenix and then fucking, I'm getting my bags and shit. We get off the bus. We go in the terminal and she's like, baby! She runs up to some dude she was meeting in Phoenix. I was like, it's probably good I didn't have sex with that girl, but let's go. So anyways, moving on, right? I go back to work and my life's crazy and great and everything, right? I'm still going to hardcore shows, shout out to Phoenix Hardcore. I don't know about now because I'm kind of out of the scene, but we had a big, local scene. It was great. The big boys would roll in every now and then. Rotting Out, Terror, Cold World, Backtrack, Expire, Code Orange Kids, Harm's Way, you name it, right? Going to hardcore shows. And, yeah, there was this one guy. We're going to call him Jerry. He was like a popular guy. Now, if you don't really know the hardcore scene, like, it's kind of like high school. There's the cool guys. Everyone wants to be like the cool guys or at least know the cool guys, right? If the cool guys don't like you, you're kind of shunned away because people don't want to associate with you. That's kind of why I got out of the scene, right? I kind of saw it for what it was. But, no hate to any hardcore kids out there. I still love it. Hardcore's, with me forever, but yeah, I just don't fuck with the scene anymore. But, Yeah, no. So I see these two girls, blonde girls, and yeah, I could see people kind of obviously making fun of them and just, whatever. I turned to P Fresh, who I was with at the time, and was like, "Hey, who's those girls?" He's like, "Oh, that's Jerry's girlfriend." Again, popular guy. And I'm like, "Oh, whatever." About a day later, she adds me on Instagram and starts talking about my ears. Hey, were you at that show? I saw you. Blah, blah, my ears like this. Like, asking me questions about my ears. We are probably talking, like, first time talking for 2 hours. She's like, do you want to hang out? I was like, sure. So then, we hang out, and it was the most awkward shit in the world, dude. Like, the most awkward hangout ever. And like, she comes over, I'm smoking weed, she doesn't smoke weed. So like, when you're super high and like you're trying to conversate with somebody who doesn't smoke weed at all, like, it's super hard. And not only that, but I'm like I'm like really attracted to this girl. So like, I'm like how to carry this conversation and shit like that. And I like fuck up the conversation because I just ask her about her ex. I'm like, so you dated Jerry? And she was like, why? Are you not going to talk to me either? Like, no one talks to me because I dated him. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. And she like leaves, right? I walk her to her car because I'm a fucking gentleman. And I'm like, well, drive safe. She's like, I will. Zzz, doesn't even look at me. Like, rolls up the window, hits it in reverse. And then like, I remember when she starts driving off, I'm like, well, I'm never seeing that chick again. I go upstairs, like an hour and a half later, I get a text from her being like, that was so fun. I can't wait to hang out with you again. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. So we hang out again, and I think we ended up hooking up. And then I had to run to Casa Grande for daddy duties. While I'm there, I get a text message from her being like, I never want to see or talk to you again. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? She just tells like, you're just not good for me, and I just I don't want that. So I need you to respect that. I'm like, well, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay, whatever. That didn't fucking bother me, dude. So then I stay in Casa Grande, and then I leave the day I have work, and I just go straight to work from there, right? I get off work, and I get home, open the door. There's Sophie, my roommate, and Ramel, and this girl. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Now, this girl, she had these eyes. And I don't mean like she had these eyes. I mean, she had these fucking eyes, bro. Like, she would stare at you and it would be like Medusa or something, bro. Like, they would pierce you, bro. Like, if she wasn't even looking at you, bro, they would pierce you. And so I'm like sitting there and like conversating with everyone. I could just feel her staring at me. I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm not here to see you. I'm hanging out with your roommates. And I'm like, you don't even know them. Like, she hardly fucking knew them. She's like, I'm here with them. And I was like, well, I'm going to go get some 40s. So I go get some 40s, get drunk. She hangs out a little while longer, leaves. And I'm like, why are you guys hanging out with her? They're like, she asked if you were here. And then we said, no, you're at work. She said, can I wait for him to hang out with you guys? They were like, yeah, sure. I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. But I don't know. I guess I like crazy bitches or something because she just kept like pulling me in, right? But I didn't really want anything to do with her. So eventually I was like sick of her mind games and shit and being haunted by her eyes to the point where I was like, fuck this. Now, as all this is happening, my life fucking changes forever. I get off work one night and Ramel's home. It's just Ramel. I sit down. I just got paid, probably just bought weed. I'm like, let's get high. Sophie's, crashed out in her room. P Fresh hits me up. And he's like, hey, dude, I'm here with my cousin, my sister, and her boyfriend. Like, we're looking for a place to kick back. Can we come over? I'm like, yeah, for sure. He's like, all right, bet. I've never met them, but I'm open to meet, new people. So they all come over. We start kicking it, getting high, sharing a couple beers and stuff like that. And in the midst of this conversation, his cousin, who goes by the name of Bones, asks me the question that will change the course of my life forever. Have you ever dropped LSD? Now, if you guys want to hear the whole story of what happened that night, you can go to my first trip report on this channel, my first LSD experience. If you guys know what happened or just watched it, we're going to continue on. So I just had my first psychedelic experience. I was blown away, dude. Fucking, during that psychedelic experience, I wanted to stop partying. I wanted to reconnect with my family, bring them back in and stuff. So I started, mending the relationship with my baby's mother. And I was still just so profoundly affected by this psychedelic experience. I don't know what the fuck just happened to me, but I knew something was there. Ramel wasn't, profoundly affected as I was. He thought it was cool, but I knew something deeper was there. It wasn't long after that I got home from work. Ramel's like, "Hey, dude, have you seen this documentary? It's called DMT, the spirit molecule. Basically, DMT is what you see when you die, man. Like, you can smoke it and shit." And that's when I learned about DMT. And I just started researching psychedelics, mushrooms, DMT, LSD. I just started just continuously researching all these experiences and stuff like that. Through my research, I kept coming across this man's face in memes and stuff like that. And I remember the one that really caught my attention was him standing. It was like his face photoshopped in front of a mirror, and his shirt, like holding up his shirt, and his shirt says, "Bitches don't know about they minds." And I looked down and I said, hashtag Terrence McKenna. Who the fuck is this? Clicked it, and oh my God, I went down that rabbit hole. And just was like glued to McKenna speeches for hours upon hours. Now, after finding my first LSD experience, after having my first LSD experience, I couldn't find LSD, so I had started, getting mushrooms, and started doing mushrooms. Now, at the time I started doing the mushrooms, my baby's mother, and my child, had moved back into the house we were living at for one more month with Sophie and Ramel. Basically, my baby's mom's grandma's fucking crazy, and yeah, she kicked them out. So I told Sophie, "Hey, look, we're all gonna go our own ways in like a month. They're coming over." She was like, "Absolutely, that's fine." So that's when me and her, when we didn't have the kid, of course, would experiment with psilocybin mushrooms. And I finally found DMT, and again, all these stories can be found at the beginning of my channel, my first experiences. And man, I knew, like, this is fucking, like, this is a world I've never seen it before. Psychedelics touched me so intensely and so deeply. Like, it dipped my feet into the waters of the answer I've always been looking for about why I'm here or what is the purpose of life. You know what I mean? And I finally understood that life is much bigger than this body, that there's an endless universe that exists inside of my head, and I want to fucking explore it. And, as I'm having all these profound psychedelic experiences, I'm gaining all this knowledge and like getting comfortable with connecting to the earth and humans and looking at human beings in such different sense. And I'm stopping being such an arrogant asshole and a dick and careless. And man, I remember the first time I took 5 grams, it was with my baby's mother. I don't think she took such high of a dose, but I remember just going on this rant about like, why won't the world just be more loving? Why can't the world just connect with each other? Why is there racism? Why is there sexism? Why is there this? Why is there that? Like, what do we do? Like, why is there like greed and shit like that? Like, I want the world to take psychedelics and understand this. I want the world to like experience this. If only the whole world took some type of psychedelic with the right intentions, it would change overnight. And she said to me, "Well, if there was only somebody out there that could convince the entire world to take psychedelics, then I think you're right. And like at that moment, this message was downloaded to me. Yo, it's your job. Your job is to gain as much knowledge and experience as you can from these sacred tools, and just tell people about it. Just tell as many people as you can about it." Now, I didn't immediately think of jumping online and doing that. Like, I didn't know what that meant. I wanted help. I didn't want to do it alone, but none of my friends were into psychedelics like I was. I tried to create a podcast that never worked out because nobody was down. I wanted to create a podcast dedicated to psychedelics, but nobody was down. Eventually, somebody on Instagram asked me, "Hey, how do you smoke DMT?" Because I was, doing I was kind of becoming more known as a hippie on Instagram, not on a very tiny scale, you know what I mean? But one day someone asked me, "How do you smoke DMT?" I was trying to explain it to him. It's like, man, I wish I could just film a video for this guy. And I was like, hey, maybe that's it. Maybe I'll just film a video about how to smoke DMT. That'll be my first video. I'll put it on YouTube. All right, so I created a YouTube channel, and my name was Icarus 480. 480 is my area code. Icarus is a flying squirrel from a movie called Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland. Long story short, it's about this kid who goes in a dream world and accidentally unleashes the nightmare amongst this dream world called Slumberland. And he has to team up with like-minded individuals to bring the light back to Slumberland. And that's what I wanted to do with my channel. I think us as psychonauts, if we band together through experiences, you know what I mean? We too can help open the minds of the world and bring light back into the, this dark, dark world. And, yeah, so Icarus is the name of this flying squirrel from Little Nemo. And I didn't want to be Nemo for it, so Icarus, baby, that's how I got my name. And, I went to film that first DMT video, how to smoke DMT, and I was like, what should I use as my background? And I had bought in my baby's mom this fucking big-ass tapestry, and I was like, well, I guess I'll use that. So this became my background, right? So I put this video on YouTube. I wake up the next day, it's got 50 views. I have 10 subscribers. Whoa! Right? My mind's fucking blown on that, right? The next day I wake up, 200 views, 70 subscribers. Whoa! I put out another video, right? And it just fucking started growing. Next you know, I had within 2 weeks, I had 15,000, or not 15,000, 1,500 views on my first DMT video. And, people were watching my shit, and I was getting subscribers, and I was like, holy fuck, this is actually fucking working. So I start, just dedicating my thoughts to what should I do with this YouTube channel? I'm just going to tell stories and what I learned from my experiences and try to explain my experiences as detailed as I possibly can, right? The channel is slowly growing, day by day. I'm going up in subscribers, and I'm getting over 1,000 views on those videos, and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I've never had views like that. What the fuck? This is awesome. So yeah, man, I'm still experiencing psychedelics and just having these trips and learning from them and trying to interpret that experience into words. And that's what I'm constantly walking around and thinking about. So one day I get off work, right? Now, at the beginning of my YouTube channel, if you go to my very first video on YouTube, how to smoke DMT, at the very end of my video, this happened on the spot. I say, most YouTubers have a catchphrase, but I don't. Mine's gonna be smoke DMT. See you later, haha, and I, hit end. And then, in a couple of my other videos, that's how I ended it. I'm Icarus 480, smoke DMT, dupe. And as I knew, I was gonna, continue doing this fucking channel, I was like, I need to come up with a better fucking catchphrase, man. Smoke DMT just sounds way too motherfucking tacky. So I remember getting off work, and I was walking home. I'd gotten off the bus, and I was walking. I was on University and Mill, right by the CVS there. Shout out to my Tempe heads. There was a group of people waiting to cross the street, as I was, but I was a little behind them waiting. And there was this probably 55-year-old guy sitting on the ground with his back against the pillar of one of the CVS, one of the pillars connected to the CVS building. So he's sitting there, I'm just standing there, and I'm thinking about things in my head about what to come up with my catchphrase. Keep calm and smoke DMT. No, that's way too whack. Stay trippy and smoke DMT. No, that's too similar. Good vibes and smoke DMT. Nah. So the guy's like, hey, buddy, hey, hate to be that guy, man, but my tummy's kind of rumbling. You think you could spare some change so I could put some food in it? I'm like, yeah, sure, man. So I reach in my pocket and I pull out a $10 bill. It's all I had, but hey, the guy needs it more than me. Whatever. I hand him the $10 bill. He looks at it. He's like, oh shit, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm like, hey, no problem, man. I suggest using it wisely, but yeah, dude, enjoy yourself. And the light, fucking crosswalk light comes on. So I start walking. As I'm walking away, Still thinking about my catchphrase. I hear this dude call out, "Hey, thanks, man. Peace, love, and have a nice day." Ladies and gentlemen, that was After the Streets. Thank you guys very much for sticking it through on this journey, my friends. Like I said, there's many more tales to be had, so stay tuned, my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram at Uncle Icarus, and if you guys ever need to find me, all you have to do is jump down the rabbit hole, take a left at the Land of Oz. From there, it's second star to the right and straight on till morning. You'll find yourself in that state of consciousness before you fall asleep and start dreaming. Right there, my friends, that's where I'll always love you, and that's where I'll be waiting. Wherever you are in the world, say it with me. Peace, love, and smoke DMT, baby.